welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here and joined by Ronan McNamara.
How are you?
And Mark McGowan.
What's up?
Lots to chew the fat on this week, lads, but before we get into that, just a shout out to Flowgas, who are the official sponsors of this podcast, a new long-term podcast sponsorship, so we'll be doing quite a lot with Flowgas over the year. So anyone that doesn't know, like, they sponsor a lot of the elite Irish amateur scene as well as some top players in Ireland, so they'll be getting a little bit more involved throughout the season. So visit flowgas.ie and check them out. So we'll have plenty of stuff coming from them anyway later in the year. But right, getting stuck into what's happening this week. Where do we start?
The waste of space management.
The wasted management Phoenix Open.
The wasted management, yeah, Jesus. It's a bit like Groundhog Day. I feel like everyone has this conversation every year after the tournament ends. Like, do we really want this every week in golf, or is once a year enough, or is once a year even too much? Like, but it seemed like it went a little bit overboard this year for one reason or another.
Are we gonna? Do you know what? We'll go into the positives and the negatives. Do the positives first. What are the positives from this tournament?
It's always a great tournament. It's always a brilliant watch, and I know we'll go on to the atmosphere in a minute, but I love it. Like, I love the noise and the shouting and the roar, and I think it's good crack. And I know the field wasn't the greatest this week compared to the leaderboard that lived through it, but I thought it was a really, really good tournament. I think the finishing stretch is really good. You got a par 5, you got the par 3, 16th, obviously, 17th, like we've seen over the last few years, what can happen there. And look, as any tournament goes, if Nick Taylor and Charley Hoffman are in a playoff, this was probably the place you wanted to happen. Like, it was really enjoyable. The crowd was, gone to fever pitch at this stage. They probably didn't notice who was playing, to be honest, but I always really enjoy this tournament. I think it's one of those ones that won't be affected when it loses like signature event status like it did this year. Like, it's just one of those early season events. Like, it's February. Don't really take too much heed into what goes on in February, but I always watch out for this one. Like, I don't really care about the AT&T and Pebble, but I like this one. I just think there's something about it.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with a lot of what you're saying. Like, the golf course, the finish of the golf course just lends itself to drama. There's as Nick Taylor proved last night, like, there's birdies to be got if you pull off the right shots and you have the balls to pull off and take on the test that's put in front of you. It's there to be had. But if you're wrong by a little bit, as we've seen by like Scheffler putting it off the green and stuff like that, there are absolute some car crashes, like absolute train wrecks can happen on the end. So it always has drama. Like, all of the past of me watching this tournament, you always remember the finish in Phoenix because there is always drama. There's always something, and last night was no different. Hoffman, the people's champ, coming at things, going hard, serious storyline, like hasn't won in donkey's years. And nearly pulls off one of the greatest comebacks since, I don't know, Phil Mickelson won the seniors. When Phil Mickelson won the PGA at Kiawah, like, it would have been up there with that on a scale of, Jesus, where did that come from? But no, it wasn't to be. The Canadian come in and give a bit of sweet chin music at the end.
Yeah, he just ruined it for the sponsors.
And playoffs are always a brilliant way to finish a tournament. And I think it's like 5 of the last 8 Phoenix Opens have gone to a playoff as well. So whatever it is, whether it's the course or the way it's set up or whatever, it generally leads to fairly tight leaderboard at the top. So it's a great tournament to watch for sure. And yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's playing there. Like, the golf is very much kind of like a secondary sideshow for a lot of the fans that are in attendance. So no matter who's playing there, they're going to arrive in their droves, and every year they're going to crank it up a notch from the year before. It's kind of like it's almost like there's a sort of incentive to, well, we did this last year, we have to go one better this year. So It got rowdier, I think, this year than it has in any other previous years. But Yeah, I enjoyed it.
The only innovation they have at the tournament, like we've done some of the positives, we'll do a little bit few more positives than we get. But you're saying it gets better every year. The only innovation they have is they put an extra layer or more windows or more people around 16. That's all they tend to do. Like this year, the whole back of it was opened up so you could see like 15 and you could see other holes. So you've like it's. Someone fell off the top of the stand at one stage. Like that's how bad it got. We'll get into them in a few minutes, but like these things are like 3-4 stories high and like unbelievable infrastructure going around this one 9-iron wedge hole. Like it's bonkers when you think of it. But this seems to be the only innovation. It's just what can we do with this tournament to make it better? Oh, let's make 16. Let's add another layer. Let's add it bigger. Let's do a bigger wraparound. Let's more seats, more people. More beer. That seems to be their innovation.
Yeah, you think maybe they build on that going down the finishing stretch. You think you could do that on 17 as well. You could put like a massive, what are they called, canopy areas or whatever they're supposed to be, like all the way down the right hand side of 17 to kind of make another little amphitheater like hole. And then 18 as well, you could do it. Like they could really maybe expand on 16 by adding it into other holes, because there are some holes, especially on the front 9, where there's just nobody out there, like, you know.
Yeah. No, it is.
It kind of seems a little bit of a missed opportunity that they don't have the playoff on 16 and then going to 17 if it's, you know, if it's a rollover. I mean, sure,
no,
like
I agree.
18's good for it's a good enough hole for a playoff, but not like, I mean, when you have that hole sitting there with the whole event is built around this hole, it really seems like a missed opportunity not to be using it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It's one thing that I've written down the notes. Now, it's only a 9-iron or a wedge for them in, but the added pressure of 20,000 people in stands wrapped the whole way around, and the consequence of meaning that's on the line, I think it would be serious if they went back to even the 17th, like risk reward. You can drive it on the green and where the flag is. It adds a lot more to it. But yeah, 16 would have been class if they just said, right, back to the part 3, 16 for the playoff. It would have been savage.
Yeah. And if you can imagine somebody holding a lengthy putt or chipping in or something like that to win the tournament there, like you imagine the roar that's going to be like. And I mean, no, they're going to roar for anything anyway at that point. Like, but obviously they'd be completely amped up if it's somebody to win the tournament. It would be definite. It would be a great clip to show down the year, every year going forward. You know, like it would make the hair stand up in the back of your neck, I would say. So
it's borderline though, like, because it could end up with just what we had when they get hole-in-ones of everyone just fuck their beers onto the green, and it could be just carnage and the
tournament be over at that point. Let the beer cans rain down.
If it was a bit earlier, it'd probably work as well. I think most people had just left to go watch the Super Bowl by the time this tournament was over, so the 20,000 goes down to like 2,000 in the space of 10 minutes.
Well, I would say maybe 10,000 had left and 8,000 were probably lying absolutely blind drunk and unable to move. So
they didn't know what day it was, let alone the Super Bowl was on. But no, they're the positives on it. It turned into a good leaderboard as well. Like the Hoffman angle was really good. Taylor, he brought it. Like he played really well. If you take the 2 playoff holes as well, like birdied 4 of the last 6 holes he played to win that tournament. He had a lot to do when he stood on like the 15 tee box, and he just delivered the whole way through the finish and called it back. So no, that was good. And then
it was good with Taylor the way he played the 15th. I thought, because I was going mad at him for not going for the green and 2. But this is a man who knew himself. He wasn't swinging it particularly well on the day, but he knows my wedge and Porter is probably the best out here in this tournament this week. So I'm going to trust what I'm really, really good at to get over the line. And a great nod to our boy Garrett Rafleski as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. Anyone doesn't know Raflowski, you can look it up. Gordon Smith has a nice little academy down there in Slieve Russell. So I know Garrett, the owner of Raflowski Golf, works very close with Taylor, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. Yeah. Everyone nods. No, on the they're the positives on it. Then you leaderboard wise, we had Scotty Scheffler doing Scotty things just at this tournament. He just loves this tournament. Didn't quite happen for him on the back 9. He wasn't striking it as well Especially off the tee. He was losing a fair bit off the tee and blocking a few, pulling a few, but yeah, when the pressure was on at the very end, he just didn't have it. But that was unusual for Scheffler. He actually had a good putting week, which that's ominous if if everything else clicks in his game. Then we had your boy Ronan Sahith Tigala up there as well. He seems to raise his game. Yeah, every week, every year for this tournament. Like, this is where he announced himself. It was at this tournament a few years ago, and we all got stuck behind it. But if you forget as well how quick these things happen, like 3 years ago, Scotty Scheffler won this event as his first PGA Tour win, and like what he has done, what he's done in the in between period has just been off the charts.
Yeah, actually, 2 years ago. Actually,
2 years ago,
this would have been the 3 in a row, which is even more astounding. Like, it's incredible that we were sitting watching it, thinking like, is anybody, if Scheffler plays well, if Scheffler puts well, is anybody capable of beating him? And yeah, until this week 2 years ago, then it was like, well, is he capable of winning? He's a good player, of course. He's kind of often up there and everything, but he's come close a lot of times now. He hasn't won. Does this man have a killer instinct? Is anything like that? And yeah, 2 years later, we're like, is it possible to beat him?
Yeah, exactly. Right. They're all the positives, lads. We've got all the positives out of the way. We'll go in between then. What? Go on.
The other positive is that Nick Taylor actually won, and like we're not going to have to watch Charley Hoffman in the designated events. He's not going to be in the Masters, shooting out to that first round lead when I've got Freddie Couples back. I'm not a big Charley Hoffman fan here, as you might figure out. So I was pulling hard for Taylor. Yes, I got the fairy tale aspect, as you were talking about, from Hoffman, but yeah, you can keep your fairy tales. I'm happy.
Jeez, I tell you one thing about Hoffman. It's one of my best golf stories that I've ever experienced and seen. I think it was 2017 at the Masters. I think I might have said this on the pod before to one of you. So Lowry was drawn with Sergio Garcia and Lee Westwood for the first 2 rounds. So obviously I'm following Lowry around on course, and it is blowing an absolute gale. Like, this course is borderline unplayable with how strong the winds are and balls oscillating on greens and stuff like that. And the group ahead, Charley Hoffman was playing, and I think he shot a 64 in the win. Like, he was so far ahead after day one. It's just the score just wasn't out there, and the way the sort of lay of the land is there, you can see a lot that's going on ahead of you. You're always trying to stay out the group you're following. You run on ahead, so you're ahead of them to see. So I was mixing it in, and like, I could not believe some of the shots Charley Hoffman was hitting. And the players, when you listen to the interview coming in, I remember Lowry saying, like, is that lad in a different planet? Like, that score just was not out there. So like, he was an unbelievable ball striker, and he does love first round leader at Augusta. All right. So yeah, you're saved that. Like,
well, he could win. He could win between now and then yet, but still, I think this was his chance.
We give one other quick nod as well. Monday qualifier, Jim Nouse. I think he was like 1,153rd in the world. Is it Nouse or Noose? Or
Jimmy Hard K, isn't it? This is
Jimmy Hard K, right? Jimmy Hard K. So yeah, he made the cut in Monday qualifier, and he birdied 4 of the last 6 holes as well to finish in a tie for 28. Made himself 53 grand. I think that's his 48th PGA Tour start. He qualified for this as his first start back in 2017, and now he literally had announced when he qualified for this is it, I'm done. I'm starting a job with Ping as a club technician in 2 weeks' time, so I'm done. I have my cubicle all laid out. I'm stepping away from professional golf. And lo and behold, no pressure on, makes the cut, kicks on, 53 grand and a nice few FedEx Cup points. So that was a bit of a fairy tale thing for this event.
Yeah, that was deadly because Ryan French, the guy that runs the Monday Q Info Twitter account, he'd posted earlier in the week or before the tournament, letting everybody know that this is Jimmy Hardkay's last tournament, and he was kind of like, if you're going to the tournament, or if you know people going to the tournament, text them, let them know this. Let's give him a real good send off and everything. And obviously the info reached a lot of people on that 16th because the cheers and there was like big Jimmy Hardcade chants and everything. It was fantastic to watch. I loved it. So yeah, full top marks to him.
No, it was. And then I'm choking on coffee here, lads. Lowry and Power, take it away.
I don't know. Like, this is just Lowry over the last 12 months. Like, there's so much good golf in there, as we've seen so far this year, actually, if you're going to focus narrowly in on it. But he's just not able to put those 4 rounds together. And it's as frustrating for us watching as I'm sure it is for him. And look, it's just the enforced situation he's in at the moment, outside the top 50, not in the signature events. Like, he does need to start putting some results together, because it just hasn't really happened for him the last 12 months, outside of the Ryder Cup, where he wasn't particularly great either, in fairness.
I think that's a bit unfair now. That's a bit unfair.
I didn't say it was bad.
No, I know, yeah, no. But I'll defend Shane for one. I thought he had a good Ryder Cup.
Yeah, good, but not great.
Yeah, no, but like, no, we'll have to, in his defense.
But it's annoying. It's annoying though that the last few weeks he's had good rounds, had good starts, and he's not turned them into, a top 20 or a top 25. Nothing finishes. Like, he's getting nothing out of it.
Yeah, he does need to pick up the pace a little bit to try and play his way in. Like, even that Aeon reward list that they have for getting into the next events and stuff like that. Like, he's kind of nowhere near featuring, making his way into the signature events, and that'll really grind him, because like, he is playing some good golf. He's just not putting it all together, and I'm sure it's very frustrating. And like, he is starting to make an effort now, though, that I can see from his scheduling. He's announced he's playing in Singapore in a couple. Like, these are things that are not normally in Shane Lowry's wheelhouse. He hasn't been there since pretty much since he turned pro. He hasn't been out to places like this. Now he's having to step back a little bit and focus on, right, where do I go to try and get myself some wins, to try and get involved in events, get those feelings back. Because like, Shane Lowry on his day will beat any of them out there. You can put anyone up in front of him on his day, but he's just not quite performing the way we all know he can recently.
Yeah, and this week, because he started off so well, and
yeah,
like, there was a little bit of a draw bias again this week. So the guys who started early on Thursday, of which he was one, really got the wrong end of the draw, because they played in horrible conditions on Thursday. Pretty much completed their rounds, had a 4-hour weather delay, had to go back out and finish in them. And the guys who started, the late starters, came out, maybe played a couple of holes, but then came back and played the rest of that round on Friday morning, and then their second round on Friday evening. And the weather on Friday was an awful lot easier. So I think only Tigala out of the guys that were really at the top of the leaderboard came from that same side of the draw as Lowry did. And through 2.5 rounds, like, Lowry was in the mix still, which was, he'd kind of got over that weather, that weather hump. But I mean, the start he had to his fourth round. No, he wasn't going to win the tournament from starting at 8 under. He was too far back. But the start, I mean, well, look, 21 under won it, so he'd have had to shoot 13 under. He'd have had to shoot 58 to get into the playoff. But the start to his fourth round, so he missed a 6-footer in the first, missed a 6-footer in the second. The third is par 5, 90 yards in the middle of the fairway. Didn't give himself a look at birdie. Missed from 3.5 feet on 5. Missed from 8 feet on 6, 8 feet on 7, and 6 feet on 8. So that's through your first. And then he did birdie the 9th to turn in 2 over. When realistically, that could so easily have been.
It should have been 5 shots better.
It could have been 5. Yeah, 5, maybe even 6 shots better. And obviously he just, like, things weren't going his way that day, and or that round, and he kind of never recovered from it. It just, like, the head was down. He probably threw his ass at it a little bit on the way in. Like,
did you see him having a snap at lads? Did you see him having a snap at lads on Twitter? No,
I didn't.
So some lad, this is on the first or the second day, like when there was so many weather delays. He was asked a question in the press conference: would you have come out to play today to the tournament? Shane, no. I said it to the boys. There was a group of lads in the 6th hole when it was raining. I said, what are you guys doing out here? Surely you can find the closest bar and do something else. And he said the rain was coming in absolutely sideways. And you're coming out here to watch us hit 6 irons, 160 yards. I was like, you should just go home, It's one of those.
I didn't think that was having a snap.
It was just horrible out, he said. And the conditions were all over us. And some lad quoted him on Twitter and said, PGA Tour, utterly desperate for more young fans. Shane Lowry, why are you guys here? ? So Lowry piped in, it was 8 degrees, pissing rain, and blowing 20 mile an hour. And I'm not sure if you've been to Ireland, but that's called sarcasm, mate. So he just slapped him back in his box. He's right too.
Fair play to him. I'm happy with that. That's a good response.
Yeah. Right.
No, you handled that well.
Were you going to add something else in on Lowry there, Mark?
On Lowry, I mean, not really. It's probably becoming a little bit of a worry, and as Ronan was saying, that he's not putting the four rounds together. It's one thing if he's in all the big events. I mean, he's in the majors, yeah, but he's not in any of the other big PGA Tour events apart from the players. And whenever this signature event series format was kind of brought out and everything, we're saying if you're in it, it's kind of almost hard to play your way out of it. But if you're out of it, it's very hard to play your way into it. Yeah. So obviously he's on the outside looking in. So he has to do something pretty impressive to get himself in there. And at the moment we're just not seeing it.
Yeah, and it's such a pity. It's a grind on him that it's just, you've highlighted the stats there. It's his putting. His ball striking is still pretty much on the money, so the way he's had some of his, like the last 3 years of ball striking with Shane Lowry have probably been the best 3 years of his career, but he hasn't won what he should have won, and it is because of his putting. And like there's no way of sugarcoating it. That's the toughest part of golf, is when you're playing well but you're just not converting. And I'm sure he's very pissed off when he looks at his own stats, and it's just so annoying. But yeah, no.
Like imagine nobody's more frustrated by it than Lowry himself. Yeah, obviously, like it's, he can run a little bit hot at times. Like we all know that. So I can only imagine like how seething he is. There's probably a touch of Jon Rahm in him at times. Like, and we'll get to Rahm later on. I can't wait for that.
No, on the then Séamus Power it was a tough week for Séamus as well. Like he done well to make the cut. Had a bit of a final round charge. He was on the nice side of the draw, I think, and he got a chance to actually lay a marker in. Made the cut. Didn't quite happen over the weekend, but he has the luxury of, like you said, being on the inside looking out. So he doesn't have to do loads to stay there, but he needs to do more than what he's doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. He's kind of, it's been like bang average from him this year. Everything he's played, there's never been a week where he's been terrible, but there's never been a week where he's been anything other than middle of the field if he's made the cut. Like, maybe make the cut and he's down towards the latter half of it. And yeah, I just hope that this isn't, look, I've kind of spoken about this before, that Padraig Harrington has that theory about every player having like an 18-month peak. Obviously during Harrington's own 18-month peak, he won 3 majors. Like, yeah. Séamus Power went 1-2 PGA Tour events kind of in, I think it was roughly in about an 18 months. Now obviously there's no like direct science to that or anything, but yeah, it's, I just kind of hope that Séamus hasn't hit that peak, and that he's down on the downside of it. look, we'll obviously we'll find out over the next couple of years, but I'd
Yeah,
be
he has every
a little bit
opportunity.
worried that we've seen the best that we're gonna see of him.
Yeah, no,
And
hopefully not.
I please God, I hope Séamus, I hope you're listening and prove me wrong. I'll be absolutely delighted to see it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance he's listening, but yeah. Cheers. Right, the negatives. Let's get stuck into the negatives. I'm just gonna list off some things here now. Like we said at the start, I actually like this event as I've always liked this event as a spectacle, but now it's something that I just would not want to set foot inside. Like it's gone from me for being a bucket list event to stay the fuck away. This is just a disaster. Like, so listing off some of the stuff: spectators injured falling off a grandstand, fans filmed fighting one another, organisers having to close the gates on numerous occasions. Then they temporarily closed all the bars, so no beer sales. The commentators were joining in and booing on the 16th. One player,
were
like
they?
a few, the Smiley Kaufman, and like it was cringeworthy.
That was
at times.
cringy.
It was cringy.
Stop.
Then some players are branding the event. One player came out in his press conference actually and just called it a shit show. Zach Johnson squared up to fans. I'm not sure if you've seen that video. Like, and literally
Yeah, that was funny.
You've Billy Horschel telling lads, like, we're working here, like, what the fuck are you doing? We're trying to hit some golf shots. This is our job. Shut the fuck up. Then you have the Sand Angel guy on 16, and then you just have lads just generally too drunk to stand. Like, the whole tournament, it really, and it's all around the crowd, but letting people in, like, at 5 a.m. in the morning and serving them beer all day, like, I don't know what they expect, but this is what this is built around. But they've lost a run of this now. I can see a lot of players were very pissed off with how this tournament went this week, and I think some of the mishaps of the tournament, of they were unlucky with weather windows and rain delays and stuff like that, that will have added to the stress on players. But then to layer the crowd and the amount of muppets they had at this tournament and drunk gobshites just has totally taken away from this. And I can see players staying away from this tournament going forward unless it's brought back in as a signature event. I think the PGA Tour will realise, unless there's a signature event, players are just going to sack this off their schedules, because it's just an utter disgrace. I think it's borderline. It's just an embarrassment to golf at this stage, and it's the fans. It's the American fans, and what happens when you let them drink their pissy beer for that long and they start falling off stands and shit.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like back in the early days when like the 12 pubs of Christmas thing came in. So I was working at a pub in Dublin city centre at the time, and like the first year or two that it was in, it was like that's a kind of like a novel sort of like a good like that looks like good fun and everything. But with each passing year, just people just became bigger and bigger assholes, and it became like you know the challenge. You had to be so over the top obnoxious every pub that you went into. So like, and obviously it got to the point where all the pubs, or any decent self-respecting pub, no longer lets anybody doing the 12 pubs in. But I remember people coming in, and one group in particular coming in and came up and asked for a drink and called me like, right, okay, I won't say the word, but it starts with C and rhymes with
James Blunt.
Hunt. Starts with C and rhymes with Hunt. Yeah. And I was like, what did you just say? And he's like, oh no, it's one of the challenges. We have to call the bar staff that in every single pub. But I was like, get the fuck out of here, you know. But anyway, like that's what this kind of event is becoming, and that like everybody's just acting like, or well, not everybody, but there's a large number of people that are just complete assholes when they get drunk.
Yeah.
You know, just like go to the event, get drunk, shout, have fun, but you don't need to be an absolute prick. Like,
no, I totally agree.
That's the issue with it.
What were you going to say there, Ronan?
Where do I begin? Firstly, I don't get how you can go to any sporting event and get so drunk you can't even stand. The people who are quote unquote ruining the event for the players and other fans as well are not golf fans. I don't think they're just there for the piss up. Let's be real. Look, I still love this event, but it definitely went way overboard this year. The 16th, look, still want to keep it the way it is. If there's a way of regulating it, great. But I think the commentary needs to kind of regulate it as well. I was watching it on Saturday night, trying to watch the final groups kind of go head to head. I know it was a bit lopsided as well with the delay and the draw, but you're cutting back every second shot to a fella on level par, hitting a 9-iron to 25 feet. And you got Smiley Kaufman and Kevin Kisner jumping up and down. Like, get that off my television. Get that off my television. I will never say a bad word about Dame Laura Davies ever again after that. That was just shocking.
Mark Rowe. Bring back Mark Rowe.
Bring Rowe back. But no, look.
No, here. Lads. Gonna have to stop you there. Look, you're taking this too far. That's a drastic overreaction. Mark Rowe does not need to come back at any time.
Get McGinley on to tell me about the weather.
Yeah, no. It is.
To keep going there, like, it's an event that, look, it definitely went overboard this year, but I thought there was some funny moments. Now, it's nothing to do with fans being ossified and having to be carried out, and obviously closing the gates and then closing the bars is obviously a worrying situation for the event going forward. But I thought Zach Johnson trying to give out to the three groups of fans there was just so funny. Like, we all know that one guy.
Me.
We all know that one guy, or maybe that one teacher that's just such a soft little sap. And when he tries to raise his voice, it's just so funny, like, and so awkward. I just thought it was brilliant. Like, I haven't stopped watching that video for the last couple of days.
Yeah. I love the fact that somebody, whoever was abusing him, called him sir, obviously, like, was abusing him politely. And don't sir me. It was fantastic.
No, it is.
It was fantastic.
It doesn't.
Zach Johnson doesn't.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem like the guy who would have like the thickest of skin anyway. Like, you remember like who could forget his famous US Open? You know, they've lost the course. Like, he's throwing his toys out of the pram then. So, yeah, I'm not in favor of people abusing golfers, but it was good TV watching that.
No, it was funny. I would be genuinely concerned because this is like it is a trend, and we're seeing it in Ryder Cups in the States as well. I am genuinely concerned about the next Ryder Cup in New York. Like, I think Bethpage is going to be absolute carnage. I think the template yesterday is exactly what Bethpage is going to be. So if I was Luke Donald, I would get all of the European potential team to tee it up with the Waste Management next year and wear their European gear and soak in the atmosphere, get spat on, get beer thrown at you, just throw yourself into the lion's den, like, and
send them out like the heels in wrestling, go out telling the crowd, shut up, or you're all idiots, or something like that, just to rile them up.
But just to expose
get Larry to take his top off on 16, like Harry Higgs.
Oh, stuff, no gas.
That's X-rated TV.
I think that's enough on the PGA Tour, lads, is it?
Hold on, let's. Ronan mentioned there. He says he doesn't know how people can manage to get that drunk. We've all been at sporting events, right? It's hard to get a drink. You have to queue for ages. And they're all drinking light beer. It's not like they're all like hammering shots of tequila and everything. It's how the hell to be. I was listening to another podcast earlier on. Apparently, some guy said that there were 130 unconscious people removed on Saturday, like completely passed out drunk. It's like, how drinking light beer. How do you drink yourself to that sort of oblivion at an event where it's hard to actually get a drink in the first place?
Yeah,
or it's time consuming. Like, it's these people need to fucking build up their tolerance.
Yeah, no, it's a bit mental.
This is just their one drinking day a year, maybe.
That's it. What are they doing for the other 11 and a half months a year? So, right, on to the next. Live Golf, Las Vegas. I was looking forward to this, and I watched pretty much all of it. I'm getting into this live crack now, lads. I'm telling you, this is good. I'm even into the team side of things. So,
you got your little Majestics cap on there.
No, I'm not a Majestic. No.
Who were you last year? Remember we did the team picker thing last year. Who were you? Were you the Stingers? Were you?
I was a Stinger, I think.
I was the 4 aces. You were the Cleeks running.
I'm a range goat.
He's a range goat through and through. No, definitely.
You thought you were a range goat until Live Team Picker actually sorted you out.
No,
Yeah,
he
I
is.
was
And
four
yeah, you're going
aces.
to the home of golf this week as well. Anyway, you're off to Saudi tomorrow, aren't you?
I am.
How is that going? Now we'll get into that before Live. How is that going for you? What did you have to do? You had to go to the embassy and shit like that.
No.
Did you not?
They just said I just
Consulate.
sent in my visa online and then they sorted it out.
They sorted it out. Okay.
So
It's
if
like
I
the
don't have
consulate.
if I
It's
don't
a
have a
very,
printer, I'm
very
not getting
inviting
in.
place.
So what are you expecting when you're flying? There's obviously no. I don't think there's any direct flights from Dublin to Jeddah. Can you go Shannon to Jeddah or Cork to Jeddah or something? Do we have any direct flights?
No, I'm
Do all
going
your
Dublin.
drinking on the flight over.
Yeah, Dublin to Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi to Riyadh, and then I'm going to walk in. Thomas Peters is going to check my passport. Bubba Watson's going to guide me through the customs there, let him in, no
Like
bother.
one of his goats.
And then we're all going to start chanting, "We are goats, we are goats, we are goats, we are goats."
Oh, stop. No, it'll be good. So it's for the Aramco series, Leona Maguire teeing it up and that. So now you'll have a good week out there. I think it'll be good. I've never been to Saudi Arabia, so we said we'd get you to Saudi Arabia, but for a live event when Andy Ogletree get back. So this is the first start of it.
Andy Ogletree. I wonder does he remember me from Oman this time last year?
Of course he does. You're his inspiration. He won his card back on the back of you. So, no, it'll be good. No, I'd say you're looking forward to that now.
Look, as long as it's sunny, I don't really care.
No, it'll be good. Right, getting back to Live Golf Las Vegas. Did you watch it?
Watched most of the final round.
You didn't watch
a
it,
whole
Ron?
lot of the previous days.
I went to turn it on and it was over.
Yeah, they had them teeing off at 6 a.m. in the morning, in fairness. That was good for us. But so you watched a bit of it, Mark. I watched most of it now, to be fair. I actually really, really enjoyed it. Again, savage leaderboard again. The production values were really, really good. And again, when Waste Management was all over the place first two rounds, this was wheeled off at a perfect time for us. It looked good. The golf was great again. And yeah, we had drama, we had fireworks, we had some serious bits on it. So where do we want to start with Liv?
We'll start with GMAC.
Go on, exactly.
Where else would we start? I
The
mean,
$1 million man.
The $1 million man. He earned himself $700,000 in prize money or individual prize money, and I think $300,000 for his share of the team winnings. So $1 million for the week's work. It's not bad going. No, it was his best ever performance on Liv. He finished fifth. It was good. Look, it's good. It's good. It's good to see him actually showing a little bit of form and everything. I know he alienated a lot of people whenever he made the move and came out and made some probably ill-judged comments and everything. But look, I'm happy to see him playing a bit of decent golf.
I'm delighted to see him up there.
And his on the last day he shot 5 under, which was the best score on the day by 2. It was very, very windy and cold. Now, obviously, a man who grew up where he grew up, that's manna from heaven for him. But yes, went bogey free, shot 5 under, best score of the day by 2, as I said, and spearheaded the smash GC to team glory. It was great.
No, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. No, I'm very happy for GMAC that he's back. Because and it's not a sympathy thing, but he must have been in a bad place with the abuse that he got year one. And I'd say, I know from us doing stuff with him a couple of months ago and hearing different interviews and stuff like that, mentally, it definitely took its toll on him. And then he wasn't playing good golf. And then, yeah, he's been well looked after for moving across. But he thought 2 months ago he was finished with Liv. The team were dropping him. I'm in the drop zone. I'm done. And then he gets onto probably one of the best teams in the thing. He's rejuvenated. And then when you have someone like Brooks Koepka, cracking the whip in behind you, giving you a bit of inspiration, and they group together. What I thought was interesting, and we don't buy as much into the team element of Live or we don't read too much into it because you just think it's a sideline. But these guys all travel together now, and they they're staying in close proximity to each other, be it sharing houses or doing stuff on site and practice rounds together and doing an awful lot together. And he said he is just thriving on just the whole environment around the guys that are in Smash GC with him, and long may it continue. Like, I would love to see GMAC hitting a nice bit of form, and this isn't just a flash in the pan, but I think he just needed that little pep in his step, and just that little reminder of, I'm actually a really, really good golfer. And yeah, I've put up with a bit of shit over the last couple of years from opening my own mouth and saying something that I shouldn't have. But you know, I know people are kicking back and saying he's been well compensated for it. He's blah blah blah, and I agree with all that. But just purely on the human element of things, it's just nice to see him back in a good mental place.
And he owned those comments as well. Like, he's stood up in the meantime and said, "Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I was like clearly misjudged. I said something I shouldn't have said. I didn't think I was, and he's been punished for it. Yeah, he's been like, okay, yeah, as you said, he's been compensated, but he has suffered for it. So, look, you can, if you want to hold the grudge against him forever, that's your prerogative. But there's a lot easier ways to live your life than holding grudges. So
live and let live. That's what I say. Live and let live.
Go on.
Go on. Looking at the leaderboard on this, what else stuck out for you at this? Obviously, it's a DJ win. I love Dustin Johnson. He's one of the players that I miss most since. Now, Jon Rahm will probably take that mantle off him, but since he left for Live, DJ is one that I miss the most. And I kind of missed out on this in the press conference. I was reminded of it yesterday when I was chatting to my brother, and he said, "Did you see DJ's sort of post-match presser?" And I said, "I've seen little bits of it." And he goes, "See what he said about practicing and preparing and playing?" And I was like, "No." And he said, "He did nothing for 5 months. He came back last week, not after hitting the ball at all, for like 4 and a bit months, and like surprised himself by doing okay last week, and then comes and wins 4 million quid second week back. Like, the man is scary talented."
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. He's probably the player I missed most. Definitely of the original Live guys that made the move, and it's only partially because of what I love watching Dustin Johnson play golf. I used to live for just a Dustin Johnson pre-tournament press conference, because like inevitably reporters would be asking sort of targeted questions, looking for a specific answer or looking for a certain type of answer and everything, and just so many of his answers were like deadpan.
Yeah, he gives zero fucks.
It was just wonderful. Like, every week I'd be like a WhatsApp group with a few of my mates that play golf and everything. And I would just take a screenshot of just a Dustin Johnson quote from the press conference and just put it in there. It was I absolutely loved him for it. So yeah, definitely one of the biggest losses to the PGA Tour and wider golf with his move to Live. But I was also absolutely delighted to see him win this, because when he just makes the game look so easy when he's playing good golf. And yeah, he's now leader of the rankings with a win in a 5th place, as you said, coming in without hardly touching a club for 5 months. So
he's just it's bonkers.
It's supreme talent, and I mean, obviously to do that takes supreme talent, and yeah, he's just showing it.
Yeah, and with Taylor Gooch just behind him. Like, in fairness, this looked as though it was going to be like a 4, 5, 6 man playoff at one stage, and they all just start dropping back. And Jon Rahm was one of the notables again in the mix, coming down the heat of the hunt, and just he hit like a pure shank in on one of his last few holes. I'm not sure if you've seen that. It was an absolute shocker, pure hustle.
It was incredible. It was incredible. It was, yeah. I mean, it makes you feel a little bit good watching it, because there's one of those comes out of me, I'd say once every couple of weeks when I'm playing golf, and it's devastating when it happens to you, and you start questioning your whole existence as you're walking up to the wall. But yeah, look, Jon Rahm can do that as well. I'm delighted to see it. But I tell you, Rahm seems like he's like a coiled spring. I think he always looks like he's a volcano about to burst, but these last couple of weeks he's been even more so. Did you see when the caddy and him were kept asking the crowd to crowd to
silence
shut
your
up
mobiles
at one point? He's if he doesn't win one of the next couple of events, like somebody is gonna like he's gonna go full like mass shooting in the gallery someday or something.
No, it was good. I actually enjoy the hot mic action in Live as well. Like the caddies are all mic'd up, so you can hear everything. And like by some margin, the F bombs dropped by the Thundercats. So by Legion 13 lads, it is off the charts. Like they are so far ahead. Between Tyrrell and Jon Rahm, it is box office. And what I love most about it is the commentators just laugh. They don't bother saying sorry, or I do hate that PC shit with Sky that they
Absolutely.
I'd like to apologize if you've picked up on any bad language there. Just go and pull the other one. Just jog on. It's an emotional game. They're being put through the mill here and through the ringer. So I love that they just take the piss on Liv with the hot mic stuff. And when you have Tyrrell saying, like he hits a bad shot into a par 3 and then starts saying like stuff like, now you know why I play ping irons, because I strike it so shit. Like you just don't get that sort of stuff normally. But you know Tyrrell has been at it for a while. And then even the reactions of some of the hot mic stuff with Bryson yesterday was so good, because like he thought he had this tournament wrapped up on day 2. He carried it 8 under on day 2, and like he was at 11 under. He got it to 12 under at one stage, and that's 12 under won the tournament, but he had an absolute mare in the final round. To drop well back, he carried a 4 over round, and just listening to him, and he's just such a gobshite. I just have him. He is in the same scrap heap as Justin Thomas in my eyes. I despise the pair of them lads. I'm just glad that they're
Justin
split.
Thomas.
Because he's don't get me going on Justin Thomas. He's just a frat boy arsehole.
He's the man.
He's not the man.
Bryson was just upset the air density wasn't the level he required.
I've come round on Bryson. I've actually kind of like I miss Bryson. No,
yeah, I miss him.
Yeah, he's a tool.
He's insufferable.
but he's an entertaining tool.
I miss him. Yeah.
Oh, stop. No, but it's it was good. But I liked all that. But no, it was like. Yeah, I'm really getting into Liv, and they've been so fortunate the first 2 weeks of their first 2 events that they've been up against events on the PGA Tour that weather-wise were absolute shit shows. So people get to watch them and get into it, and we get so much abuse on all of our channels. I spend like the WhatsApp, or not the WhatsApp, on like Instagram, on our Facebook groups, and on our
the Facebook mafia are all over it.
They're all over. Like no matter what you put up, who cares? It's the same guy. Just who cares? Oh, you know. And I go, well, you care enough to comment, Sham. You know, what are you doing? Like, why waste your time at this stage? But it's just I find it really mad that people that I know have not watched or experienced anything about a live event in the last year and a half still just slate this product. Absolutely. And it is fast becoming a staple of the main tours in professional golf. It's very, very good. So I
mean, look, when you put a dozen of they probably have a dozen of the best 30 to 40 golfers in the world at this point, right? You put a dozen of them out in a tournament, and they're guaranteed to be in the tournament. Like, it's gonna be compelling to watch, regardless of what you may think. And we all wish that it never came about in the first place.
Yeah,
it's the fact that we don't see Dustin Johnson playing against Rory McIlroy any more than 4 times a year is because Liv came about. So yeah, we definitely didn't want it, but it's here. So you may as well enjoy it if it's, you know, if you like watching good players playing golf, it's hard not to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like the thing that'll go against it, I think, as well this year is the gaps in the schedule. Like we already were gone from AT&T at Pebble Beach. We're into Waste Management, Phoenix Open. We've Tiger to look forward to, the Genesis. The PGA Tour is relentless, and that's what's good. Different storylines, different players. That's what works. We don't see anything from Liv now for another 3 weeks till the next Liv event.
Jeddah, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've been corrected on that, actually. Yeah, we have to call it King Abdullah Economic City. So that's where you're going, Ronan. You're not going to Jeddah.
I'm going to
King.
Riyadh.
Even though
Oh,
they
you're
call
going
it
to
Live
Riyadh.
Jeddah on.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is.
Going to
Okay.
see will Stevie G give me a game during the week.
Is there any games on actually when you're over there?
Probably, I don't know.
That'd
All
be
I know is
deadly.
the Undertaker. The Undertaker is not going to be there this time. Well, no, like I didn't watch it last week, but I watched the end of it in wherever it was before the playoff.
Mexico.
Like I am starting,
Mexico.
Mexico. I am starting to like make the effort when I retire to the spare room at like 10:30 at night to watch TV for an hour, and then it's just not on because it's not on TV. You have to go look at it on YouTube. So I find it very hard to actually know when it's on because with different time zones and things like that. So
Yeah.
I feel it's very easy, even though it's obviously improved. It's very easily missed out on.
Yeah, it is, but it's a savage product to be missing out on. That's the thing. It really does stand out.
It
this
is the
season.
production. Like the production of it is excellent. I mean, obviously, no adverts is a huge thing. I mean, this is what golf could be on TV if there was no adverts, but there obviously has to be adverts. So it's obviously not sustainable going forward. Having this broadcast free to air, that is going to have to start paying for itself in some way, or else it's just like literally a plaything, like a hobby for.
Yeah,
for
but
the
Sky do a
PIF.
good job. Sky do a good job
Sky-
on like taking the US feed and not showing us all the crap that they see, and they commercialize it themselves. I do not know why Sky couldn't do the exact same with Live. It's very rare that they cross over. They have enough channels, they've red buttons, they've everything. If they just got
Yeah.
Live onto a Sky red button channel and or onto any channel like Sky Mix, whatever, Sky Sports Mix, it doesn't have to be the golf channel if it's clashing with anything else. Have it there as an option, and I think people would advertise around this in the ad slots that Sky in their general way, because we're used to consuming golf that way. But I think that is only around the corner as well. I do think it is going to be picked up this year.
Yeah, it's
But
funny.
another thing
I enjoy those little highlight packages that they show for like, was it 90 seconds or whatever it is of different shots and different putts being held. Like I was watching the PGA Tour there on the Saturday. I mentioned this earlier about the 16th. And you've Smiley and Kevin Kisner watching lads on like 1 and 2 over par hitting average shots into that par 3, and I'm just sitting there thinking, Liv doesn't do this. I wouldn't have to put up with this if I was watching Liv, because look, we all watch the PGA Tour, and that's the one thing that we all know is just so annoying, the amount of irrelevant shots that we see for just no apparent reason.
Yeah, just out of context shots and shots that are in the wrong sequence sometimes and just have no bearing on. And we're going to be served up, be you like it or not. Like, and I like it for it grinds on me for 9 holes. Like the Genesis, Tiger could be 50 over and they're showing every shot. Like it just that grinds me a little bit, but it's Tiger Woods, I suppose, and they're hanging it off him. But I see JT might snake his way into that tournament as well through that Aeon. There's another reason I hate him. Like he's a weasel. He's just getting in everywhere.
Top 30 in the world,
Tampon Association of America are going to get him in.
If you're a PGA Tour member and then in the top 30 in the world, I think you get straight into those anyway. So
no, he hasn't been in. He's relying on sponsors, invites to a few of these based on last year. This one on the Aeon risk reward thing, those Aeon charts, he's 6th, top 5 gets in, but Pavon hasn't committed yet whether he's going to play in this or not. So if Pavon pulls out, JT is in. He's not playing, so JT will get in because they published a list this morning with 6 names on it. That's the only way he's getting in.
Why is Pavon not playing this week?
Because he doubled his career earnings in 10 days and couldn't be arsed. And do you know what? Fair play to him.
Exactly. No,
I agree.
He's going back sipping wine and cheese. Oh, yeah.
So that's the only reason. But that's enough from Liv, right? DP World Tour. I thought we were going to have one of our McKibbin wins this week.
Do you know what? This week it was probably the most disappointing weekend from an Irish golf point of view. After like Thursday, Friday, between Lowry, McKibbin, we had Lauren Walsh and Olivia Mehaffey going well in the LET. We had Conor Purcell going well in the Challenge Tour. All of which we'll get into. But like, it looked like it was like this could be like an all-time week. We could have 4 winners here.
After us lamping them for the last month, saying we've no one on tour, we've no one, and then boom, 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 boom.
Well, we could have taken credit for that.
Yeah.
much like I'm going to take credit for whenever Séamus Power turns it round.
Yeah.
So it turns out he was listening.
Watching Tom on the Sunday was very akin to a certain other man from Hollywood in final rounds in the majors. It was like lots of 20, 25, 30-foot putts, just rolling up beside the hole, tap in, a couple of birdies here and there, bogey free, absolutely stress free, like not a bother. But just, you just want 1 or 2 of those putts to go in, so he could have kicked on. Like, he did nothing wrong on the day, played very well. Just, it looks like he had a bad day with the putter, where realistically he just didn't really have many chances to hold putts. He was off from 25 feet, which is difficult.
It was just stale on the front nine, wasn't it? It was just like all pars in the front nine. He hadn't done that all week. Like every day, the first 3 days, he's birdied the first par 5, like an easy hole for him, one of the easiest holes on the course, and starts off with a par on the first on the start of the final round. And then, when you have 2 par 5s on the front nine there, and you're looking to do a bit of damage, like he literally just had such a cold day on the greens. And then, like, it was a very clean scorecard. That's what I will say. But he just didn't take advantage where he normally does. Of his proximity to the hole was just a little off yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't miss a single putt that you'd say, like, he should get that.
Yeah.
But, a lot of the putts that you're like, well, you might get this one. They just didn't drop from him. I mean, he burned the edge with a few of them. You can, you need a little bit of luck. You need to hit a good putt and everything. But there's not a whole lot of difference between a 25 footer that lips in and a 25 footer that slides past. I mean, luck is the kind of the big difference there. Now you keep hitting that putt on that line, you'll get your fair share of them.
What I love about
Tom for him on the Sunday.
Yeah, what I love about Tom though is when we're dissecting stuff like that, we're saying, he didn't win. He didn't drop back on the Sunday. The putts didn't hold. He had a frustrating day in the golf course. He still got it around on 2 under par, playing in the second last group on a Sunday like that. Like, he has some serious game. Like, he really is. He'll be very, very disappointed coming away from this tournament, because it wouldn't have taken much from what he did to actually win this tournament and win it comfortably as well. Like, he's finished 3 shots off the lead of Hoshinono. I don't know how to say. I'm brutal with Japanese, Chinese names. Yeah, I'm not going to attempt to it. We'll call him Rico, right?
Rico.
So he finished 3 shots off Rico, but it's like it's what could have been. I have no doubt Tom will find himself in a very similar position very soon. Like we've been looking at his stats all throughout the first 5-6 events. Every week he's getting better. Every week he's further up the leaderboard finishing, and this week is no different. So from 4th, like, there's only one way he's going, and we're coming into a very, very good time of the year as well. Like, when we get to the sort of late springtime, that if he clicks, like, he's borderline breaking into the world's top 100 now. He's really knocking on that door. And if he can get a win in early, like, there's nothing to stop him trying to knock on getting close to that top 64 in the world and getting close to the match play and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think he's maybe like around 21 or 22 in the race to Dubai so far this year. And obviously there's a lot of people that ahead of him, like McIlroy, Fleetwood, for example, are all guys that are already exempt on the PGA Tour. So, I mean, that's like, I'm sure that's his main target for the year. I'm sure that's it's like he's wants to win, wants to get into the majors and everything, but primary target will be getting one of those 10 PGA Tour cards. And I mean, the way he's just racking up his consistent finishes. It's hard to see him not doing it, really.
Yeah,
which is kind of, I mean, it's we have ragged on some of the Irish pros and everything. I mean, when we're talking, there's like, we expect this fella, and we'd be very surprised if he doesn't earn his PGA Tour card. We probably haven't given him enough credit, even in in the last couple of months. Like,
no, and it's how he did it the last round as well. Like I'm saying, he shot 2 under when it wasn't going his way. The guys that were grouped with him and around him, like Rasmus Højgaard was with him. You've like really strong players like Ewan Ferguson and guys like that have been around so much. Them two lads shot 73s in the final round, like playing very similar golf to McKibbin. So yeah, it is serious sign of mental strength from Tom. So there are big things coming from this boy.
yeah, and it wasn't easy. You know, it was quite windy for an awful lot of that round, and like he was never out of play. He was, you know, he was on the fairway, he was on the green. Yeah, like some of the other players got a couple of unbelievable touches of luck. Like, remember the French guy Coussard landed in one of the sprinklers green side and somehow didn't bounce miles over the back, but it just kicked on nicely and rolled up and just like 5 foot past the pin. Like, you know, you need bits of luck like that to go for you. Where's it going next? Where's the European Tour going next?
Kenya next week. There's a week off this week.
Yeah, I don't think Tom will be going to Kenya.
Why?
No,
See a few giraffes.
He's been there. He's done that. He did that all last year. When I remember talking to his dad after it last year. After rounds, like they were heading off, so there was game reserves and safari things like every day, and Tom loved it. Like they're driving after every round, going out to see giraffes and rhinos, and great crack.
Kids love the zoo.
Yeah,
he was only 20 then, wasn't he?
Yeah.
19 is all he was then. Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Right, getting into the roundup then on the LET this week. Like you said, it didn't quite happen. I know you remarked on it earlier on for Olivia Mehaffey and Lauren Walsh.
No, it didn't. But it was cool to see Lauren sharing the lead after the first round. Like her first start in her rookie season, and she was up there. Like she clearly has the game, and she hung tough then the second day. She's only, I think, 2 or 3 shots off the lead halfway through, and then it just didn't happen for her at the weekend. But I think there are 2 very positive performances from Lauren and Olivia, particularly Olivia. Like top 23 first start is pretty good going. Like we all know how good Olivia can be if she can just, you know, get into the right state mentally as well, because it's been just an awful 2 or 3 years for her, and we all know the reasons why. So it's good to see the two of them on the LET. Like it's good to have 2 girls out there, 2 girls on the LPGA. Good to see a bit of growth in the Irish women's game at professional level. And look, Lauren's a straight shooter. She wants to get off the LET as quick as possible, get a win this year, and try get an LPGA Tour card either via the LET rankings or at Q School. So I think it'll be the LET will be interesting to keep an eye on this year, I think.
Yeah, oh, definitely. You went and adding that, Mark?
No, not really. I think he's covered all bases there with that. But yeah, it's the first start of the year. Making the cut, good. You know, having a bit of experience at the top of the leaderboard. She'll, like Lauren in particular, as obviously as it's her first year, she'll definitely learn things about herself. What, you know, how she didn't follow up her great rounds with rounds that she'd be particularly happy with in the next days. You know, it's all a learning curve. So
you're starting to sound like me now. She'll kick on. She'll kick
on.
on.
Here we go.
She'll kick on.
But you haven't brought out the kick on yet once today, so
no. I just said it there. That was it. I said I'd hold it off. Anything else in roundup, lads, that went on that we'll cover before we get into heroes and villains?
Challenge Tour. Conor Purcell. Well, he was going quite well. He was going well after a couple of rounds. Was in contention there in the SD or the Baines Whiskey Cape Town Open. In Cape Town, obviously. Just didn't happen then for him on the final day. I think he was within 3 or 4 shots of the lead going into it. He just said he was stuck in neutral, just never really got going. Again, it was like Kenya and like in Qatar, it was strangely windy there as well. The scoring wasn't too great, but first start for Conor like of the year as well. He said he was pretty happy to be in contention after 54 holes. So big Irish contingent playing this week as well. You have Conor, you have Gary Hurley, you have Ronan Millarney, you have Johnny Caldwell, Derek McElroy and Mark Power as well. So hopefully they can all join Conor and try and make the cut this week.
Yeah, exactly. Long way to go not to be making cuts.
A long way to go.
Conor's actually in the Go ahead.
Connor's in
I
what?
I was just saying, like, it was a great week for Conor, like, but disappointing to see all the other Irish lads miss the cut in South Africa last week.
Yeah, I was going to say Connor's in. He's actually in the field for the Magical Kenya Open in a fortnight's time on the DP World Tour, courtesy of his high Challenge Tour ranking last year. I think I had a quick look at the entry list the other day, and he's going to be our sole Irish man on the ground that week, I think. So
Our
Good
safari
opportunity.
man.
Good opportunity.
Safari man, yeah.
That's what it's all about. Anything else to hit on, lads? Roundup.
Yeah, we had on the Corn Ferry Tour on Thursday, I think it was. Cristobal del Solar, a Chilean fella, shot 57. So he had about maybe a 12-footer on the last to shoot 56 and break David Carey's record. Putt slid by, but he tied it.
Where was this? Where was this event on?
Disneyland.
This is in Colombia, Bogota Country Club in Colombia.
Country Club. I wonder what the altitude is here now. What are we talking about?
So
Alps Tour job was Carey. So are we debunking this now? Are we going? How high up was he?
So he was at 6,250. No, sorry. It was a 6,254 yard course.
Right.
Par 70, played at 8,500 foot elevation. Do you
here
remember remember the WGC that was in Mexico?
Yeah.
Remember where like everybody was hitting it absolute miles?
Yeah.
This is 700 feet higher again.
Yeah, well that's it, you see, that's the thing.
So realistically the course is probably played at about 5,500 yards.
Exactly. Juicing. All these 57s are juiced.
Doesn't count. Doesn't
count. But there is too many though.
Someone else shot a 59 the day after as well.
Yeah. And
so
Nick Taylor shooting 60 on the PGA Tour as well. There's too many of this, lads. We need to roll the game back. There's too much of this shit happening now. 60s and 61s and 58s and 59s used to be like once every couple of years. Now we're getting them every week. Like it's just, this is not right. The professional game is there's a tough road ahead. Like I don't know, I'm laughing, but it's a very serious point. There's too many 60s and there's too many lads going into the 50s every other week now. It's mental.
Well, I mean, there's like several 400-yard par fours on that course, and sure, they're all driving at 400 yards at that altitude. Like, you know, if you carry the ball 320 yards, which an awful lot of players can do nowadays, and at that altitude, you're gaining another 45 yards on that probably. You know, so your pitch, you're probably carrying the ball 375. And with a bit of rollout, 400-yard holes are all drivable for them. So
I'd still manage to shoot mid-80s on altitude. I definitely, it'd be good. Right, come on, heroes and villains.
Well, don't roll the ball back for Pete. Roll it back for them.
Heroes and villains. Hero, Ronan.
I had someone, but I after kind of forgetting them. My villains are Smiley Kaufman and Kevin Kisner. I despise the both of them. Come back to me on the hero. It might come back to me.
No, snooze you lose. That's it. Heroes, Mark.
My hero is Nick Taylor for the reasons I mentioned earlier on. No Charley Hoffman to worry about for the next few weeks. Absolutely delighted at that.
No, that was good.
What a true Canadian hero.
My hero for the week is Fluff Cowan. I seen him on the bag this week for CT Pan. Absolute legend. Like I don't know what age he is, but like he is definitely touching 80 years of age, and he's still out there caddying on the PGA Tour.
If you had him caddying for you, would you not feel guilty about having him carry the bag? You'd not be like, here, I'll carry it for a few holes, Fluff. Like,
get up on me back there, Fluff. It's grand. I'll carry you around.
I couldn't. It would be horrible walking alongside him. Do these people have no souls? Who was he caddying for?
CT Pan.
CT Pan, right? CT Pan's my villain for the week, then. So
slave labor, right? So he is your villain for the week, and you've done your villain.
I was struggling for villains. Thanks for teeing me up there.
And Ronan, you've done your villain. So I called myself out as a villain last week, and I actually I was a bit economical with some of the truth as well, so I've been hit hard during the week. I actually didn't text the lads to say I wasn't showing up, and I said I was. So I got hammered during the week. So, Michael, I'm sorry I didn't send a text message, so I said I had to correct that this week. I was called out during the week. So I just turned up, but I didn't turn up, and I didn't text. I didn't notify them. I was an absolute prick, and I'm really sorry.
I nearly did a Pete at the weekend as well, actually. Got up at 7. I was playing at 10:15 or something. And I got up at 7. Course is closed due to frost. Next inspection at 9:30. So I'm there thinking, there isn't a hope in hell this golf course will be open by 9:30. So back to bed I went. Woke up at about 10 to 10. And course is open. And I'm like, oh my God. It's that dream. I've always had a dream about being late for golf. And I was like, this is happening. So I've trained for this moment. Got a bowl of cereal into me and just rushed straight to the golf course onto the first tee. And I wasn't even last on the first tee either, so I made it and I played quite well.
Did you par it or birdie it?
I parred it. I was absolutely robbed of 2. Robbed.
No, you can't compare yourself to me. I made zero effort. I didn't text. I didn't do anything. So yeah, you're doing yourself disservice there. I'm just not a nice guy.
Well, I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Brendan Feeney, who I was playing golf with in Sligo on Saturday morning. Myself and Brendan was signing into the computer at the same time. He didn't enter the 2s, so I had a little exchange with him there and then. I was like, "How can you not enter the 2s?" No. Sure, we're currently only playing 12 holes there at the moment, and there's only one par 3 in the 12. So he's like, it's a waste of time. Sure enough, you know what's coming. Brenton stands up, sticks one into about 2 feet on the 16th, makes the birdie. We absolutely ripped him a new one the whole way home. Get into the clubhouse only to find out that there was a €187 rollover from the previous day. So tough pill to swallow for Brendan, but just gonna give you a shout out there, Brendan. We're all thinking of you.
That is a tough one.
That's all the more reason to enter the 2s when there's only one par 3.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that as well. Mathematically,
he's a clown.
One go, and it's a rollover as well. Like, oh my God, it's compounded.
Like we have three par 3s in our 12, so like realistically, you're gonna get minus money for getting the 2. But there's only one. Jesus, what a clown! He should never be allowed back to play golf again.
Right, I think we'll draw a line under that. This is the longest pod we've done in a while, lads. We're nearly 1 hour 15 minutes. So, cheers for everybody for tuning in.
Pure gold.
Yeah. Ronan, enjoy Saudi. I hope you meet MBS and Bubba and all the lads out there. They greet you when you land, and have good fun catching up with Leona all week. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it next week. And cheers to everybody for tuning in, and thanks to Flowgas for the podcast sponsorship. So we'll be back next week. You can keep up to date on irishgolfer.ie on all the news for the week. Thanks a lot. Bye.